Right people, welcome back to another roundup of iPhone 15 leaks. We have details regarding the bezels, battery life, and also things to expect on future iPhone models, so let's delve into it. So let's begin with a replica iPhone 15 Pro Max. Unbox Therapy recently showed us, and it basically looks near identical to the CADs, as one expects, but the big takeaway are the razor thin bezels. Remember, Ice Universe had told us it could be 1.55 millimeters thick, which would be a new record, and yes, you can definitely see these are ridiculously thin. But I'll be honest guys, people are getting way too excited about this. Like, yes, it's nice Apple's doing this, and it will make these phones slightly more compact, but at the end of the day, they're just bezels. You're likely going to forget about these when using the actual device. We also have an aluminium mold which surfaced on Weibo, and this once again shows us the slightly rounder chassis with the 15 series that's going to make it more comfortable to use. And by the way, would like to remind you guys, like this video and subscribe for more content like this, it would be appreciated. Anyways, let's now move on to more exciting changes, and that's regarding battery life. So this is what I'm looking forward to because the A17 and the 15 Pro is going to be 3nm, and so as a result, we could see a 35% reduction in power consumption. Now in the past, when Apple had a much more power efficient chip, they usually reduce the battery capacity since they can of course now use a smaller battery inside and get similar endurance to last year's phones with this newer, more efficient chip. However, I'm really hoping that's not the case this year because the competition has caught up battery-wise. For the last few years, Apple's been well ahead, but due to Snapdragon's 8 Gen 2 chip, and it being based on the same TSMC fab Apple uses, the S22 Ultra now matches the 14 Pro Max endurance-wise. So I don't think it would be wise to go the cost-saving route and simply match the battery life the 14 Pro Max offers. Since we have a lighter titanium frame this year, Apple might as well go all out and flex on the competition by using a battery capacity near 5,000 mAh. Because remember, the S22 Ultra has a 5,000 mAh battery inside, and it's only just matching the 14 Pro Max that has a 4,300 mAh battery inside. So if Apple really matches the S22 Ultra capacity-wise, no one would be able to come close. So yes, while I should probably temper my expectations, I'm really hoping for some big battery upgrades, and if you look at what Apple usually does, you will notice that Apple has a TikTok cycle of sorts. The XS was not a huge upgrade battery-wise, but then the 11 was, the 12 then wasn't and actually got worse, but the 13 series fixed that, and the 14 once again was not fantastic battery-wise. So if Apple sticks to that cycle, we can expect the 15 to be a battery year for the iPhone. Now I do want to mention, by the way, the yield rate for these 3nm chips Apple's using are pretty low, so there is a chance supply is low for the 15 Pro at launch. This actually happens pretty often with the Pros, where they're hard to find at first, but hopefully that's not the case for long. Moving to the cameras, there's been some doubt regarding whether we're getting the periscope lens on the 15 Pro Max, because there's not been much evidence it's in the works. However, Unknowns21 has now independently confirmed that this very much is in the works. Now for those wondering how much better this periscope lens is compared to the telephoto on the 14 Pro Max, it's going to be offering zoom up to 6x compared to 3x now with the 14 Pro Max, which is a decent upgrade. And of course, the periscope zoom upgrade means digital zoom also gets better on the phone. In fact, I'm hoping Apple takes some inspiration from Pixels and improves digital zoom by collecting data from the main lens and the periscope lens and merging them together. And by the way, as has been long rumored, this is only coming to the Pro Max. I'm still hoping the regular Pro gets it next year, but maybe there's some limitations with the size. And also, let's be honest, Apple wants to upsell consumers because they want the average selling price to continue to increase. And actually, regarding next year's models, we actually already have news regarding iPhone 16 and there are some exciting tidbits, though as always guys, take all this with a grain of salt. So to begin with, the haptic buttons we heard about this year that got scrapped are coming next year instead. That makes sense and I'm still looking forward to this. However, do note, the action button that's replacing the mute switch is still coming to iPhone 15. But more excitingly, we've heard about display size increases for next year's models. Ross Young, the ever-credible display analyst, says iPhone 16 Pro and Ultra could be 6.3 inches and 6.9 inches. Nice. Now, more than the Pro Max / Ultra getting bigger, I'm looking forward to the regular Pro now being 6.3 inches. I feel like this might be the right size for me, and if it also helps the smaller Pro get better battery life, I'm completely down for this. Also, as I mentioned earlier, there could be size limitations with the current 6.1 inch size as the camera module continues to increase, and so with this new 6.3 inch size, we could see the periscope module now on the regular size. And for those worried these new sizes will be a lot bigger in the hand, I don't think that's going to be the case, because as we're seeing this year with the 15 series, I'm assuming the bezels will get even thinner with the 16 series, so ultimately the dimensions should not be that different. Also, the sizes Ross Young mentions are being rounded up, so the smaller Pro, for example, is more likely to be 6.27 inches instead of 6.3 inches on the dot. Now, interestingly, Ross Young says there are still only 2 Pro models in the works, which goes against what we've heard about. Gurman said the Ultra will coexist with the Pro and Pro Max, but if I'm being honest, it makes sense. The Ultra replaces the Pro Max in the range, and we have one big everything phone that has all the features. And if I'm being honest, Pro Max has always sounded pretty stupid. Ultra is a lot better. Finally, let's talk about micro LED. This is the next step in display innovation, and we've heard a lot about the Apple Watch getting this, but now we have information regarding when the iPhone's gonna get this. So not so reliable source Digitime says, right after the Apple Watch gets this, in late 2024/2025, the iPhone and the iPads are next. Now, I'm surprised it could be that soon, because if you noticed what Apple did with OLEDs, the Apple Watch got it in 2014 and the iPhone only got it in 2017, since producing small OLED panels for watches is much easier. However, if we do see it by 2025 or 2026 for the iPhone, that would be neat, because the switch to micro LED is going to give us higher brightness, decreased power consumption, better contrast ratio, and also no burn-in. However, I shall remind you guys, when it comes to display leaks, timelines can be wacky. We've heard so much about OLED iPads, but they're still not here, and so yes, I would not be surprised if micro LED takes longer to release than expected, and that's not a massive issue, to be fair, because OLED's completely fine for the time being. The 14 Pro Max is basically perfection display-wise, and I love everything about it. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and thank you for watching.